people hiking, things along those lines. I would say before children I was much more active, so it's been a tough kind of I have to juggle my schedule more, so I'm trying to think what that means. So getting back to exercise, truly, things like rollerblading, playing tennis, all of those things I loved doing before I had children. Now it's harder for me to find time to do it, but I am trying to get back into that. Well, the books I always choose are the ones I can escape into, so I don't want to know about reality at all. I'm not going to be reading autobiographies. Not interested. I'm going to be reading about places I can escape to, whether they're novels about people's stories, whether they're novels about travel, things along those lines. Love Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. Love Stephanie Meyer with the Twilight series. It's wonderful, too. The fantasy's good, yeah. As far as music goes, I'm an 80s girl all the way, so Depeche Mode, George Michael, great 80s bands, some hard rock, like Def Leppard, believe it or not, love Def Leppard. I think that's kind of my 80s, I'm an 80s girl. My first job was working at the library at 13. I remember shopping books. I remember loving the smell of paper. I loved talking to this older lady who was in charge of the library, and, you know, in my break, she would, like, show me some of the greatest books that were around. I think that's kind of where my love affair started with books, truly. Desserts of any kind, desserts, and more desserts. I think I'm like the chick flick girl, too. I'm like the, you know, the more crying, the more tears, the more drama, and there I am on the couch crying. My husband's like, what are you doing to yourself? I'm like, oh, I just love this stuff. That's my favorite kind of movie. An example of my favorite movie, Steel Magnolias, fabulous movie. Fabulous movie. It's a really chick flick. There was a Plymouth or a Datsun Shadow. I mean, I don't think they make those cars anymore. It was in Raspberry. Stick shift. When you got to 80 miles an hour, it was it was a fun car. I loved it. And like the guy used to say with the first, that's like a raspberry lipstick color. I said, you bet it is. I loved it.
Why did I go into medicine? Well, it was interesting. I was a sophomore in college. I was a geography major. That was actually my fourth major. And nothing was particularly good about my job prospects in that. And I was just in the television room one night, and a show came on. One day in the life of an intern at Bellevue, a big hospital in New York City, documentary. And at the end of it, I said, that's it. That's what I need to do. That's what I want to do. I'm going to go to medical school. 2 words. Thank you. When you actually accomplish a goal with the patient, surgery comes out well, treatment comes out well, the patient gets back to their life. Thank you. When I initially got out of the airport, I was at Scott Air Force Base, and I had a friend over here who had established a practice, and he was leaving and said, why don't you buy my practice? So I came to North County and started as a solo practitioner in 1987, and I really loved the community. I was the team physician at Hazelwood West for 20 years, and this is just a very solid community. People care for each other in this community. It's a diverse community, and they're just plain folks here. And I've always appreciated that and enjoyed working with the people in North County. I'm from Albany, New York, upstate, capital of New York, and that's where my parents emigrated to from New York. So I'm married for 35 years now, and I have 3 lovely daughters, so I don't get henpecked, I get flatpecked. But I really enjoy family activities. My daughters all are professional. They have finished graduate school in the last year, 2 all of them, and I've managed to get jobs in their career fields. So it's very entertaining being around the daughters and listening to how their careers are developing. My perfect weekend? My daughters would say Tantera, and the reason is my daughters, when they were 9 or 10, we had a weekend in Tantera, and I always started with out shopping, and the 2 little ones and I decided to do everything at Tantera in a day, and we did, with the exception of playing golf. So we did everything at Tantera. So my perfect weekend is how many things can I do in a weekend? Well, I have a second job now. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in the community, but I'm also a flight surgeon in the Missouri Air National Guard. So I've been doing that since 2003. I actually had some free time, and I wondered what to do with it, and a friend who'd been in the Guard said, you ought to join the Guard, and I did. And it's been fabulous since then. They sent me to flight surgeon school. I've been able to fly in the F-15 and a number of other aircraft, and I'm currently serving as chief of aerospace medicine for the 131st Bomb Wing. I like beef stroganoff. I like food from different cultures. I do like red meat, and I do like interesting flavors. So that would be my signature dish, but probably almost anything, especially if I haven't tried it before. My first car. My first car was that beautiful American car everybody's familiar with, the Buick Apollo. Do you remember it? Nobody does. And mine was chartreuse. So it was a car that I could afford at the time that had a hatchback so I could sleep in it if I needed to, and I did a number of times. And I beat that car up. I put 53,000 miles on it in the first 2 years I had it. And then I traded it for an old Chevy pickup. My worst job is where I hate cats. And that's why I hate cats, because I seem to be the one of my family who my dad would pick to do the jobs that nobody wanted to do. And one day we cleaned out his aunt's garage. They had cats living in it for 20 or 30 years, and it was about a 92-degree day. And I never forgot that smell, and that's why I don't like cats. The best job, what I have now. I love orthopedics because every day is new. Every day is different. And I like North County, as I mentioned, because of diversity. I'm just fascinated to talk to people, meet new people, learn different things about people, learn about different cultures. And that's what makes me happy. I'm actually one of those people that sort of decided at a very young age, I think not even high school, I actually wanted to go into medicine. And I think there's sort of multiple reasons, but, number one is I enjoy the aspect of helping people and improving their lives. And then, and just trying to really make a difference in people's lives. I think just the knowledge base of what we do in medicine, I think, is very fascinating to me as well. So I'm married. My wife is a psychiatrist. We actually met in medical school during like an orientation event. And then kind of a funny story is that we kind of talked a few times on the phone, and then we had planned what was supposed to be our first date. Well, the time we went to New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina actually happened the day before what was supposed to be our first date. So we kind of both went back and stayed with our respective parents for a few weeks, and then our school moved to Houston for the rest of the year. So we ended up having our first date about 4 or 5 weeks later, 3 or 400 miles away from where we intended to stay. So we kind of like just joke around that, like, even the hurricane couldn't keep us apart. So I do like getting outside, just exercising, like you mentioned, just going for walks, other kind of outdoor activities, like go camping, go canoeing at least once or twice a year. My wife and I really like to travel when we actually have the time. Last year, actually went on a really great trip to France. We spent some time in Paris and then in Normandy, including seeing like the D-Day beaches, which was a lot of fun. In terms of books, I kind of do a lot of different types of reading. I was actually a history major in college, and so I tend to read a lot of books on history. Especially my kind of main area of interest in that is the Revolutionary War period. And then one other area that I really like to read is with the entire Harry Potter series, like probably multiple times each book. Quite a few different series that I really like. Kind of some of them are sort of the traditional ones, steak, pizza. The other thing is, since I lived in New Orleans for 4 years, I really kind of love that style of food now. Jambalaya, gumbo, stuff like that. So my first car was a Datsun Sentra. It was as old as me. It was a really awful yellow, sort of off yellow color. Kind of rusted quite a bit on the bottom, sort of a hand-me-down from my parents. It was a stick shift, which kind of was somewhat of an issue for me first, but it actually had 5 gears, but the fifth gear never really worked. It just sort of automatically put itself back into fourth gear no matter what you do. So luckily I was really close to school because you really couldn't even take the car on the highway. I don't think I could take that car above about 50 miles an hour. I like to think that I'm, a guy that people around, really take an interest in the people that I'm around. Really enjoy getting to know people, whether it's patients, other people I work with, and just really want to do whatever I can to kind of help people out.
The first memory I have of wanting to be a doctor was when I was in the 6th grade, and I was sitting in our science class, and we were doing a chapter or unit on anatomy, the body, cells. It was so amazing to me. I took the book home that night and read the entire unit. That was the first thing that I remember being really interested in something in school, and I was so fascinated by how the body worked and functioned, and I wanted to know everything about it. And so I sort of knew that I wanted to go into medicine at that time. I decided to go into cardiology when I was an intern at Wake Forest, and my second month as an intern, I was in the cardiac care unit. And we had a patient who basically arrested at home. He was revived by the emergency personnel and brought to the cath lab emergently. And I remember that 2 days later, he was sitting up in bed reading a newspaper when I went to see him in that morning. And this is a guy that basically died at home, and he was sitting up in bed reading a newspaper, and I thought, that's exactly what I want to do. That is absolutely amazing. And personally, I think that there's nothing more amazing than the heart. On the weekends, I always try to squeeze in a run. I'm a runner, and it really helps me kind of clear my mind and de-stress, and I love being outdoors, so running is a big thing for me. One of the other things I really enjoy doing on the weekend is shopping. Now being back in a big city again, it's so great to go to the stores and go to the mall and find such a wide variety of clothes and shoes. These are some of my favorite shoes. I just picked these up, and I told the girls at the store that if I had to die and I was wearing these shoes, I think I'd be happy. So shopping is definitely ranks pretty highly on things that I like to do. I enjoy going out to dinner and spending time with friends, and I have a lot of family in the St. Louis area, so I like to spend time with my family too. I also go to church and sort of use that time to also reflect on what's going on in life. And anything that involves being outdoors and spending time with friends and family is things that I like to do on the weekends. I'm originally from St. Louis. I was born and raised in Manchester, and I lived in St. Louis until I was 16. I did the first 2 years of high school at Torrey Azu Academy in South County. It was an amazing experience. My family moved away to Tampa right after my sophomore year of high school, so I finished up high school down there. I did medical school at USF in Tampa. That's also where I went to college. And then after medical school, I went away to Wake Forest University for my internal medicine residency. I did 3 years of medicine residency there, and then 1 year of a chief residency year there. And then I went to the University of Florida for general cardiology, and then stayed on for an additional year of interventional cardiology there. So I'm a huge Demon Jenkins fan, I'm a Bulls fan, and now I'm a Gators fan too, so go Gators. I think people will find this sort of a ridiculous answer, but the honest truth is that my favorite movie is Spaceballs. I never get tired of it. I always think it's funny. So that's probably my favorite movie, and it's even more ridiculous than my top 5 favorite movies. You know, anything that's funny is ranked highly with me. So Spaceballs, Airplane, Animal House, Old School, those are some of my favorite movies. Anchorman, I love those kind of movies. My first car was a 1989 Chrysler LeBaron convertible. It was two-tone champagne with a darker brown on the bottom and tan leather interior. And I bought it used when I moved to Florida, and I thought I was one hot chica in my Chrysler LeBaron convertible driving around in Florida going to the beach with my high school friends. And it was a hoot. It was really fun until the AC broke. Then it was no longer a fun car. I chose family medicine because coming out of medical school, I liked everything and I couldn't decide. And family medicine was what offered me a little bit of all the stuff that I enjoyed. So I got to see the kids, I got to see the teenagers, the elderly people as they go into the nursing home, and I really like to keep the variety. When I was in medical school, I got the good fortune to go to one of the soccer games with a resident who was covering the soccer game, and I couldn't believe that that was actually part of his job. He got to go watch soccer. And as I did my sports medicine fellowship, it was one of the funnest years of my training. All the student athletes I got to work with, they're just so energetic, and they're so good at school, and they're also so good at their sport. They're fun to work with, and they want to be better, and they want to improve themselves, and it makes me want to improve myself too. So I have fun working with the athletes. I like to get outside as much as I can, and I used to do a whole lot of kayaking, but you have to drive a long way to go kayaking, so as my time got limited becoming a doctor, I started taking up mountain biking. Where I'm from in Louisville, there's a lot of trails that are really close to Louisville that you can go mountain biking. Now that I'm in St. Louis, I'm really excited because I get to try out some of the new trails that are really close and accessible in St. Louis. Took up snowboarding. I used to be a skier, and when I met my husband, he didn't know how to ski or snowboard, so we decided we were going to learn something new together. So we both learned how to snowboard, and we go locally around Louisville to Paoli Peaks, and then when we can, we get out to Colorado, which is great. I have a 5-month-old son, so we listen to a lot of Bach and Mozart because they say that it's supposed to make him smart. At the same time, he listens to a lot of Led Zeppelin and Dave Matthews Band because it makes me happy. So we like to listen to a little bit of everything. I love all of the cartoon movies. Anything that Pixar puts out, I'm really excited to go see. The Wallace and Gromit movies are great. Shrek is wonderful. If you put it in a cartoon, I'm going to love it. I really enjoy science fiction, and I've really enjoyed the new Harry Potter series. I love that it gets children reading and interested in books, and just such a great storyline and great characters. They're a lot of fun. Very good. Right now I read a whole lot of board books to my 5-month-old, so my reading has gone from big novels down to Mr. Brown Can Move, Can You? It's our favorite book. I met my husband in medical school, and I remember the first time I saw him, it was one of the first days of medical school, and everybody was just so uptight and so nervous about starting this new thing. And there was my husband sitting on top of his desk, just as casual and laid back as if it was his living room. And I guess his air of confidence really struck me in the beginning. So we hit it off right away, and we've been together ever since. We were only dating about 3 months when he proposed. So I guess when you know, you know. I'm from a small town in western Kentucky called Hopkinsville. I was born and raised there. About 30,000 people in our town, and from there I moved to Louisville, where I did all of my education, college and medical school, and my residency and my fellowship. So I'm Kentucky born and bred, but I'm really happy to be in Missouri. The weather is just about the same, and looking forward to exploring a new state. My first job was after my senior year in high school, and I worked at a locally owned delicatessen in Hopkinsville. The owner was probably 70 years old and just as sweet as they come, and she hand-baked all of the desserts every day, and some of the greatest blonde brownies, and what else did she make? Strawberry cake. And I got to taste it right when it was out of the oven, so it was still warm, just wonderful. But I made the sandwiches and dressed the hamburgers, and it was just a small little place, a lot of usual customers that came in every day for lunch. It was a lot of fun. I got into medicine. I've always wanted to be a nurse, and working as a nurse for several years, I wanted to be able to the patients more, and so I went back to school to be a nurse practitioner, so I got some more autonomy and be able to make my decisions myself for the patients. I graduated in high school in North County. It was my first job as a nurse in North County, so just coming back to North County made sense, and it's kind of home. We do a lot with their school sports and their football and gymnastics and everything else. And we can work things in. We like to go to the show. We like to play bubble golf. And that's kind of it. All the time we're out with the car. Everything. We listen to everything. My son's in the passenger seat. He pretty much controls the radio, but probably mostly country. I like country a lot, but I listen to everything. I Christian also. He was in the ICU, and I was in